Hello everybody. Blind Lane and Julius. I hope you guys can hear me okay. Oops. What the heck? It's this music. I'm trying to keep it low in the background. Can you guys let me know if you can hear me? Just fine. My idol. Hello, backhand. You should be listening to some music in the background. Alright, it's just an impromptu stream. Feel free to ask questions, very relaxed here. Anything you want to ask, go for it. Pretty much what I'm doing is I'm translating the whole HTTP namespace to PHP. So I picked up all the Zephyr files and then I put them in here in this project, which is pure PHP. It's the V6 one, and now slowly I'm just converting everything to PHP syntax. Once that is done, then we're gonna start running the tests and see how good of a translation, so to speak, we did. Okay? So this is all Zephyr syntax, if you see here. But to change it to PHP, it's gonna be easy. Oops, this is Greek. Hello, Jeremy. Guys, can you do a, just in case, can you do a sound check that you can hear me? Let me just type this. Just here. Fine. Okay, that's great. So for this parameter rule, I'm just gonna rename it. So HTTP method parameter override. So that's method override. It's gonna make it a little bit smaller. Alright, so you've got parameters everywhere. Okay, so one of the things that I have here is I have a type issue with the parameters. So this one should be mixed, this one should be mixed, and this one should be bool and bool. Alright, so, and this one should return mixed. So as you see here, the default value, it's fine, it's null, it could be anything. The name is null. I want to change all those to be name equals empty, so no changes, no more a million different types per variable. So once you have a string and then a null and then anything, in most cases you can just check if a name has been passed if it's not empty. And empty and is set or null, the computational benchmark, if you like, is negligible, literally negligible. But the thing that I have here is this filters parameter actually relates to the filter component and filters are either arrays or strings. So having here mixed allows you to pass anything else, and also you have null, so you can pass anything in there, and that's the pure Zephyr code. So I intend on changing this to array and string, but I'm not gonna do it right now. I'm gonna do it as soon as all the tests pass, and then I'm gonna make that change if necessary. So let's put the parameters here, and then what I usually do is I do a to-do, check the filters, and then I need to change here. All these are $signs, and that's it. That's the first method done. And then I have this. This one will return an array. Yeah, okay. So this one get basic auth array null. We can see that there is a different conditional here, so it will either array and return a null or an array. We could change this to return an empty array, but you know, a lot of applications might break, so we're not going to do that. Maybe in a future version. So if it's not this and this, and let's make these single, and then that's it. Hey Sergey, hello, welcome. Let's do something here. I'm gonna make this $this, and then $this. What is that? So that changed quite a lot of these things here. I've gotta change all these doc blocks and the definitions. A lot of them are missing or not accurate. And then once I'm done, I have to change all the method parameters and all that. So get HTTP method parameter override. That's a long name, but that's fine. Get preferred ISO locale variant. So this one is gonna be a little bit easy to fix. Alright, so this one gets us the best language, and then let's repurpose the language variable to do this with a separator there, and then what we're going to do is we're going to return star if this is not a star, return. I'm doing it the other way around. Otherwise, turn this. There you go. Good morning, Jamnik, or good afternoon. I don't know where you guys are in the world. What are we destroying today? So, we told the community that we are going to change a little bit of our goals and actually offer Phalcon as a pure PHP package, and to make it very easy for people to install it. That's one. But also on top of that, because we don't want to lose a lot of the performance that we get, we need to pretty much create some sort of an additional extension that will go with the PHP package to boost that performance, and that will be optional for people. So what we're doing here is all the code that is written in Zephyr has to be translated, so to speak, in PHP. So I copied this branch in the Phalcon repository, HTTP. I copied all the Zephyr files, and slowly I'm going one after another. This one is quite a big one. It's 1700 lines of code. So slowly, you just go on and keep on destroying. So, and of course, the problem is that I do find a lot of things that do not make sense, and it's crazy. It's crazy how a lot of things did not. Or did work, but it's crazy. I'm actually typing in other chats, so please bear with me if you see me stopping. Alright, so let me quickly do something else, and I'll be all yours. Just find something here I need to send. Alright, so going back to this piece of code, this one has a lot of if statements. So change the music because this is all stupid stuff. Okay, so this one equals null, and then if null, how do we do this? Alright, so it fetches the address server, and then if null equals address, this, but put the client in there. And then again, if null equals address, do the remote address here. And then in this part, if again null equals address, return false. memstr is str contains. I understand the necessity, but it feels so inherently wrong. That's from Spam Viking. Yeah, I get that part. But I will give you the big thing that we have is, first of all, support. Zephyr has to be constantly supported in order to be able to offer functionality that I can use to work with Phalcon. And let's put medieval music, whatever. Okay, so we have to have constant support for Zephyr. Right now we're battling with memory leaks and PHP 8 support. So I know a lot of people want to jump to PHP 8, but they can't because we do not support it. We are at 90%-ish there, but there's no point in releasing something that will have memory leaks. So that's one. The second thing, which is a huge thing for us, is that there's no static code analyzers for Zephyr. There are really good and mature for PHP, but not for Zephyr. As a result, I'm just gonna try and find a little tidbit that I found while I was doing some digging. Alright, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna copy here in the screen a little piece of code that's in Zephyr. Alright, let me just put this and this. Alright, so in Zephyr I found this piece of code. I don't know if you can see it very clearly, this part. So here's the thing. It says here, if the left type is a dot, and it's not a dot, and the left type is not a function call, then copy left code to expression code. Just add it. Otherwise, copy left code to expression code. So this has been in the framework for a very long time. We couldn't even see it because it's such a big thing. In addition, what I was mentioning earlier, I don't know if you were around but at the time, this one, for instance, at the top, the get, the mixed filters will go into the filter component. The filter component accepts only arrays and strings. This one says mixed. So what would happen if I just press 1 or 2 or 3? It's gonna start complaining, right? So these are the things that make us want to change this into PHP so that we can actually elevate the quality of the framework and not have all sorts of unnecessary issues. Now, once V6 gets deployed, gets released, it will be only for PHP 8, and as a result, we will be able to do this array string. And by doing this, we will allow the actual language, the PHP, to not to do some type checking for us. And of course, we need to address the issue with Zephyr, that it will support 2 or 3 different types, just as the union types. Zephyr does support more than one type, but internally it converts that into a var, a mixed. So a little bit of work there to be done. And you know, honestly, I really don't want to spend the rest of my life hunting bugs. I want to be able to find them, fix them, and release something. The easiest example that I can give you is the latest release 5.14 came from a report from one of the members of the community that the ACL, there was a reflection get class or something like that from a reflection property, and that one had been deprecated. So alright, this one came up, but I haven't worked with reflection that much, so that was a question mark for me. So what I did is I loaded up Phalcon, not Phalcon, and if you see up here, I do have the ACL translated, right? Everything here. And what I did is I took this code, I made some modifications to the relevant area. I ran all the tests. The tests passed just fine, full coverage and all that. And then I committed it on this repository, and I just took all the changes that I made and put them into Phalcon, and that was it. Really, that was the bug fix for me. Let me see. It was around line 600 or 700. 700, right? I got good memory. So this was the part here where it does the loop and reflection type. It was right this part. So here, instead of having a reflection type, we had reflection class. So we had get class here, and it was returning the class that you were there. But now you have to do this in order to pick everything up. Very simple change, very quick, at least for me. And finally, supporting a little bit more what I'm talking about is we have a few bugs that have been sitting there patiently with regards to dynamic properties and updating related records through the ORM. The ORM right now is so complex and it's so difficult to troubleshoot. It's not even funny. Even for my computer, that it takes around 1.5 to 2 minutes to compile Phalcon, I have to throw in a bazillion var dumps inside the code in order to see which path it follows. There's no step-by-step debugging and all that. So as a result, we chose to change a little bit our focus and focus more on Phalcon to do the MVC, so that we can identify those errors, those bugs, and fix them directly into the main repo. So those are the reasons, good, bad, ugly. That's it. Sorry if that's not what you might have wanted to hear, Viking, but you know. And yes, I understand that it does feel wrong. For those of us that have been working on this for a very long time, yeah. Alright, so that one returns the address. Let's do this. Oh, no. Yeah, Viking says, I didn't mean to send you out on a tangent, but thank you for the explanation. No, of course, you did not send me on any tangents. Sometimes, you know, you're a user, you might miss an announcement, you might miss something on Discord, and so on and so forth. It's perfectly good to actually ask questions. So you didn't send me on a tangent. I mean, I'm just telling you my pain, how I need to figure out ways to make things work a lot faster for us, and make the framework as easy to use as possible, and of course extensible. So that's what we're trying to do here. I think I mentioned this before. I've celebrated my 10th year on the project, so it's not something that I haven't done before. Alright, so if it's set this, and then I need to get this, and then do digest is this, and then I'm trying always to keep the code within, if possible, 80 or 120 lines. It makes it much easier to read without occupying half your screen. So that's why you see me just putting it in different lines. So, and this one, if matches equals an array, if not empty, matches. Alright, coming back to what we were talking about, the filters and all that. So this get filtered query, it actually does require certain variables, and then all these have to be checked. So luckily this one does not have the filters parameter in here. So it's not that big of a deal to get that, but the good thing about this, that these two are relatively the same. So if I take this and copy it here, doc block is done. Take this and copy it here. Fix the variables, and now let's fix this. Variables, paste them here, that'll be fine. And then I need to paste them here too. And this one is mixed. Take the dot block. The good thing is that, coming back to what I was talking about a minute ago, the good thing is that we are in a good spot with the MVC to have everything done. So it's not gonna take that long. Once the HTTP namespace is is ready, because there is a link between the HTTP namespace and the MVC, so that's why we had to go back to do this. Once that is done, I'm gonna be able to really fix bugs that have been bugging me for a long time, and keep on pushing new versions out as fast as we can. So I think I have only 2 files left on the MVC namespace. The first one is the model, which is something like 6,000-7,000 lines long, and that will take a while. But once this namespace is done, then we should be in good shape to move on to the MVC. So I got 1, 2, 3, maybe not this. This one's the same, isn't it? Yeah. So this one I can delete it. So I have the headers, cookies, cookie request, response. That's it. That's all I have to do. And then once those are done, we're gonna have a really good grasp on Phalcon and how we can fix things. Additionally, as far as we discussed, this, of course, PHP 8.2 is a priority. Then we're gonna be able to introduce more features as far as Zephyr is concerned. Most likely bring traits into it, which would bring the PHP code and the Zephyr code in much greater alignment. And then, of course, we're going to start going into new feature requests. After V6, we're going to tighten our interfaces a lot. So the named variables are going to be named exactly as they should be, and have the types that they should be, and a lot of magic that's going on in Phalcon, checking if the variable is a string, and then if the variable is an array, and then if the variable is a null. All these cycles will be gone. And we did, let me show you something here. I think I have it here. Yes, we did create a very brief benchmark case. This was a proof of concept. I'm going off in a tangent right now. And this collection bench, for instance, it actually benchmarks the collection class, and you know, it just does the construction and the construction without data. That's a very simple test. So what we do is we create a random array of data, and then using the benchmarks, we run this one, the just simple construction, 1,000 times 5 iterations, and then again a simple construction, 1,000 times 5 iterations with data, right? So this one produces some sort of an output, and it actually tells you the mean, the medium, and all that stuff. And that was just a small sample. This here, the 7E6, is the data that it actually stores, because you need to have a bench line, a baseline rather, not a bench line, to compare what the previous run did and what the new run did. Once we have good benchmarks in here, and that will happen slowly now that we have the proof of concept. Once we have good benchmarks, then we can take those benchmarks and run them against Phalcon and see how faster Phalcon is from Phalcon. All right, and then by giving us those results, we're going to be able to say that, all right, the collection in Phalcon is, you know, 10, and the collection in Phalcon is 11. All right, how can we make those to be as close as possible. And also it would give us an idea of which components are slower in PHP land rather than C land. And the idea was to always create an accompanying extension that would come with Phalcon so that you can have a boost in speed. And that these are all the things that we could definitely work in and just make the framework very fast, or as fast as it is, or even faster. So yeah, going off in tangents. So alright, so if it's set name, I return this. If set server name, wondering how we can do this faster. Something like this. This one is much smaller in the other one we have 3 returns. That's the thing. Kingdom Come Deliverance soundtrack. It's called, I have no idea what it is. Alright, hold on a sec. What? That's 20 minutes, right? So the YouTube video says tavern/in music, fantasy, medieval music, no copyright, volume 2 from Relaxation Harmony. So I don't know if that's where it comes from. I was thinking either Skyrim or something like this, a little bit of slowish music, something like that. Hello, Mako. Viking. Yeah, it is a catchy name. Mako. This is PHP Storm. It's the latest version, and I've enabled the new IDE that they have, so you don't see any toolbars at the top. You see everything kind of like in drawers, so I can do this or the stuff like that. It's nice and simple. For me, it has the Monokai theme, which I really like. It's very good for my eyes, so Yeah, it's the, which version is it? There you go. I'm running the preview. You cannot see it here, but there is a, if you click on this icon up here, the gear, it prompts you to download the preview. But no, I'm not gonna do it now. Yeah, actually, I think the Monokai theme came from Sublime Text. That was the, I think, the first editor, the first lightweight editor that had this kind of color scheme, and then Atom, the editor from GitHub, adopted it, and then VS Code was introduced and started gaining a lot of traction, and they offered all of those things as well because people really liked those color combinations. So yeah, and because I like it too, I use it. So let's put this one. So close this. This is a long one. But luckily I don't have to do much on this. Just change that. Might be able to put in one like this one. Yep. Just keep it like this. And then we have another place here. And then this. This. Alright, so here's a little optimization. Instead of running all sorts of uppers and lowers, you just do it once and then that, that, that. Alright, hold on. Actually, let me revert that back. I need to think about this. Okay, give me a sec. I'll answer in just a minute. Alright, so Mako asks the following. Can I ask a slightly more architectural question? I think when you're developing tests, what logic strategy maybe do you use? What classifies as testable and not as testable? Do you have any references? I'm starting in this area of program tests and I don't know how to approach it, test everything or test something specific. If you're looking at the purist approach, test everything. Simple as that. Now, having said that, I once was talking to a guy that was working on a Windows phone. He was working for Microsoft, and their idea of full test coverage was to have around 75% code coverage in your tests, meaning that when you run your tests, around 75% of the code was executed at least one time, right? Now, if you're looking at the purist approach, you should have 100% code coverage. That's how it works. Is it feasible? Yes, but it will require time and patience. And because most of us work for somebody else, we don't work for our own selves. And more importantly, even if we did work for ourselves, we would have customers, and then you, in most cases, you couldn't tell your customer, listen, you're gonna wait for 6 months until I write tests, until you see a hello world in the screen, right? So the customers would definitely want something delivered. And of course, there's a price to pay. It's always a matter of when do you want to pay for something. Do you want to pay it now, or do you want to pay it later? And what does that mean? So you need to create application A, and then that application needs to evolve at some point as new features come in. If you go with the approach pay now, then you're gonna tell your developers, all right, I want full test coverage, everything should be tested, we should have a testing suite, so go ahead and do it. And the developers will say, well, in order to do a hello world with full test coverage, we will need 6 months to do that. All right, I'm gonna be paying you for 6 months to not give me anything, but at the end of the 6 months, you're gonna give me something. All right, so that's the pay now. The pay later is, I don't care what you do, just print a hello world on the screen. All right, so developers go and say, well, it's gonna take a day. There you go, there's your hello world. Well, day 2, day 3, here comes a report that says, hey, this is a bug. It doesn't display hello world, it displays hello universe. All right, so so-and-so developer fix this bug for me. So you keep on paying them, continuously paying them, and to fix bugs. So that's the pay later. You deliver something quickly, and then you deal with the problems that you have. If I were to ask for something, I would ask to do the pay now, meaning that you do your code very nicely, very thoughtfully, and then you just keep on pushing new features out, because you literally have no bugs. Your testing has the only thing that your testing might not miss is this obscure, crazy, different, edge case, which fine, you're gonna have some of those. So that's the deal. If I were to choose, I would choose the pay now. Unfortunately, in most cases, this is exactly as you write there. My client where I work now, we're in the pay later moment. Yes, I've been there. I've worked for many corporations that they're all in the pay later. Very few corporations and businesses that I was involved with understood the value of pay now. To be fair, in a lot of them, we did a little bit of a hybrid approach. So we did manage to get something out real quick, but then we slowed down our next delivery. So if our next delivery was going to be 1 week, we just said we need 2 weeks. And that extra week that we had, we started catching up with the tests. So we tried to keep the best of both worlds. It is difficult. We are in this world that customers need to get something back for their investment. If you go to the grocery store and you want to buy eggs, the guy is not going to tell you, give me your money and I'm going to give you the eggs when the hen lays them. You need them now. So it is something that it is a pain in the butt. But If you're the best way to create a project is what we have been, what a lot of people have been talking about is to have an idea of what you want to do, or have instructions on what you want to do. The first thing you do is you write a test, and the test will be initially empty. It will have a hello world in there, and then what you would do is then you would say, all right, well, I want to create this black box, all right, that would I would send it a word, and then it would print out hello world. I don't care how it does it, so long as whatever word I say it does a hello before that, right? So my test, before I've written any code, right, my test would be, if I pass X string in this method, I should get hello X, right? And that would be my test. And of course you write that test and clearly it fails, right? And then you go back to the code and you just try to see what you need to do in order to make that happen, to make the test pass. So you make a change in your code, and then lo and behold, the test passes. And this way you manage to have 100% code coverage in that particular method. This is a simple example that I give you, but you keep on doing this many times, and you keep on altering your test or writing a new test all the time before you write the code, and you start with the approach of the result towards what the code needs to write. So what do I need to get? I need to get hello everybody, or hello world, or whatever. All right, what can I do to make my method produce that? So that's the a little bit of a purist approach as well. Again, it's time, money. It's difficult to do everything. I know for my work, we were doing a lot of half sprints for testing for the longest time, but we did manage to get close to 82%, 80 to 82% code coverage, and that is a huge thing for a very, very complex application. So, you know. Do not despair. I mean, at the end of the day, I understand the employer needs to make money. If they don't make money, they don't pay you. Simple as that. That's how that works. And you know, you might be frustrated and all that stuff, but there are solutions. There's definitely stuff that can be done. Very slowly. What I mentioned, the little bit of a hybrid approach, where instead of fixing a bug will take you, if it will take you, let's say 10 days, you just say, all right, well, give us 15 days, and the 5 days you just work. So Viking says testing has to be built in part of the process, but too many companies make test coverage a metric on a target to meet, which results in a lot of tests that don't actually do anything. That is absolutely correct, what Viking wrote. The test should actually test the behavior. That's why I wrote that you start from the end result, what you expect to get, and then you just work yourself in. If you have existing code, you should be testing the behavior itself. For instance, this method here that we're looking, get HTTP host, all right, what does it say? Gets the host name used by the request. All right, so the way I'm looking at this code, I should be getting the HTTP host from the HTTP host variable, or if that's not there, from the server name, or if not, that's not there, from the server address. So there you go, 3 different test scenarios that you could test to see if you're getting the data that you need to. So Mako also says we have a problem. We have a large code base of duplicate code where some projects are a copy of others but with a different comma, making test for one won't work with the other. Just to give you a little test, we work here with Magento 1.5. Yeah, that's very common, and Magento actually offers this little trap to make a plugin for, I don't know if Magento has plugins or extensions or whatever, to make a little plugin for Magento for customer A and then take that and copy it to customer B. Those are the little tricks or you know, potholes that you can step into in the world. Trust me, man, we've all done it. So you just push forward. If you can start stealing a little bit of time, even if it's an hour extra, of course talking to your boss and all that, to add just one more test. Okay, Magento is a module, yes, okay. I didn't know if it was an extension or something like that. If you can discuss with your boss and just turn around and say, listen, give me 1 extra hour per bug or something. Well, that extra hour will start yielding results very quickly. So, yeah, that's how it works, and it will take time. So. I have a horror story to tell you, so if you think that everything is bad and all that, with regards to pay now, pay later that we discussed, I once worked in a company where they started everything. They were just starting the project, right? And they said, we want everything to be perfect. We want to have you know, a lot of code, pretty much 100% code coverage. Something happening. We just want to make sure that our application is bug-free and is easily to extend and all that stuff. So we spent quite a bit of time in architecture and do that and all that stuff. And at some point, a gentleman came over to the team that was more in the pay later category. So the idea was to just deliver code as fast as possible. And of course, if you do that, then your tests suffer. And there was a time that there were some tests that were not passing. So what he did is he actually deleted the folder with the tests, the particular tests. And then of course our code coverage went down, but the tests were passing. And it's much easier for management to see a red or a green in the tests passing, rather than to see a 20 that became an 18 or something like that. So Maka says the great trap here is that the dev team is making a repo for each project. We have 1,000 different projects and 500 of this are on production. Yeah, I've been to an employer that they were doing exactly that. And of course you make one change to one customer, and then lo and behold, then you need to propagate that change to hundreds. But then all of a sudden the 101 project / customer has some sort of a module modification that does not accept your change, so you cannot send it to everybody. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. There is a different way of doing it. I mean, I would have done it a little bit different, but hey, it is what it is. Mako writes, it seems like the history of the Viking. There are tests, but with no objective. Why the test? Yep. Trust me, a lot of us have seen that. Or the other thing, and I have to admit, I've been guilty of that too. I've made that mistake. Uh, so you have an application and you're using a framework, right? So just like now you're using Phalcon framework. All right. Well, you're writing tests to test if it writes to the database correctly or it doesn't. Those are useless tests. Uh, uh, you should not test you should not test the framework. The framework has tests on its own. If the framework's tests do not pass, then your code will not work. So if you really want to figure out what you should be doing is take a method that would store some data in the database, but not just store it and manipulate it. Then you can test the database. But just storing, let's say, an address field or a name and all that, it just doesn't make sense because the framework already did it. At the time when this happened, when I encountered that, we were using Zen framework. So there was no point for me to just take a field, a bunch of data, store it in the address table, and then test if that data is there, right? Exactly, Viking. Viking says it's easy to write tests to get code coverage and pass, but they are not good tests. We had a contractor spend a whole sprint testing whether or not if should show or hide a div when it passed a boolean just to pad ours. You guys remind me of this. I don't remember where I saw it. I think it was one of those 4chan chats or something. There were two things. One was post your funniest comments in your code, right? And the other one was post your funniest commit messages. And that's what you just reminded me. Gosh, anyway. So a little bit more on spam Viking. If I posted half of my commit messages, I'd probably go to prison. Yep, I can. Yeah, I can associate with that. I always think before I post, because if I type the message immediately the way it comes to my head, yeah, it's not gonna be a good thing. Alright, this one's fine. I got a repo where the devs were talking on the commits messages. It's like a chat between code. Yeah. A lot of people do that. So. Alright, so here's a thing that I've been talking about. Guys, have a look at this piece of code. Let me just make it PHP-like so that you can just read it. And then type of raw body string is string. Like that. Alright, so this is the This is the code. This here. So the problem, and this was never ever analyzed through code quality tools and all that stuff. GetRowBody returns a string. It might be an empty string, but it will return a string, right? Well, the problem is that then you have if it's not string, actually, that was it. If it's not a string, return false. Well, this code will never execute, so it's useless there. So Maka says, I got a repo where the devs were talking on commit messages using it like chat between code. It was a different company. My stuff is right, go home, some stuff like that. Yeah, you definitely have a lot of developers that do think that they write the best code and everything. I can assure you, even with my years of experience, I do make a lot of mistakes. And I always try to write my code as best as I can. Some people do not agree with my views, which is perfectly fine. But the key is, if you want to write really, really good code, is you have to first accept that your code might stink. So if you accept that, then you work to better your code. And with your team, with the rest of your team, then you can definitely get to that goal. So not even the AI is what you call it, perfect. Alright, so let's make this a little bit easier. So this one, if it's not set, if this is not set, then return get. That's simple as that, right? And then let's take this. And then return method will be start wrapper that. IA coding. I've used Chat AI for a little bit. It was just a joke. I took a couple of files here, and I just translate this to PHP, and it did a great job. All right, it was a lot faster than I would have. Actually, let me see. Let me just get this. No, that's not a good one. Let me just get it from somewhere else. Give me a sec, guys. What am I doing? Request, right? Yes. I'll show you something real quick. Alright, so this is the Zephyr code, right? Let me try to find that thing. Where do I have So, Miko says, nice coding. What do you think about IA coding? Copilot plus chat open IA is great combination for the right questions. AI, Viking says, AI is great at parsing documentation. I make sure to develop code on completely undocumented platforms so that I can never be replaced by AI. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Alright, let's see. Come on. Okay. Well, apparently they say ChatGPT is at capacity right now. Get notified when we're back. Alright, so that would... leave that off. It's alright. Yeah, it did. I did send some code in, and it did translate it rather well, I would say. So there were a few things that I had to intervene. Will this replace us? Probably, as coders. Probably it will replace us, but I don't think the AI is at that point yet where it would create quality architectural code. So the architecture will have to be still in human brains until such time that hardware and software, hardware is so dirt cheap and nobody cares about it. Just throw more to the mix, more memory, more processing, and all that stuff. And once the qubits come over and all that, then it's Terminator kind of thing. Viking says it will replace Laravel devs for sure. I hope it doesn't replace any devs. Devs are not just code monkeys, they do think. And a lot of developers, if it weren't for them, you wouldn't have really good projects. Yeah, there are some bad developers there, but just like anything in life, you get bad and good. Yep, they're definitely different animals, Viking. Dimitrios says, what do you think about the future of PHP? Is Node.js a better alternative in your opinion? I have very strong negative opinions about Node.js, and very positive for PHP. So my opinion will be definitely biased. However, if I'm gonna be looking at it a little bit calmer and objectively, I think both projects do have a place in our world. I do love the fact that PHP is taking a really good direction towards much stricter typing and is introducing a lot more I just read something. Viking says I was referring to Node and PHP, not Laravel devs when referring to different animals. Well, I thought you meant that, so sorry, Viking. But yeah, Dimitri, I truly think that PHP is still gonna be here for quite a long time. With Node.js, I don't know, I've seen some really horrid stories that has gone with packages, with breaking, all sorts of stuff. If you're as old as I am, you'll remember that PHP was, oh my gosh, the thing to do, and then something else came along, I think, and then Ruby on Rails came over, and everybody and their uncle were making Ruby on Rails. And now we have JavaScript, and now Node.js, Vue, Next, blah blah blah. I was actually talking to the people that created AngularJS back when AngularJS was still in an alpha beta mode, because there was a lot of good things to come from Laravel, from Angular, and then Angular kind of like slowed down, and all of a sudden this Vue, this new project came over, and we're coming back to our discussion about developers. Mishko Hevery was the one that created Laravel initially with some other guys. I believe Igor was another one. But then all of a sudden, you have this guy, I don't remember his name, who created Vue. And lo and behold, it's just a totally different implementation. And then you have something something out of the blue. So developers will always think of different things. I mean, look at the Phalcon, for instance. It was the idea of Andres to create a module, framework on the module. Up until then, I think YAF was there only, and it was really limited. So I don't know. I do see a lot of Node. I've seen a lot of Node traffic and chatter. Yes, even Evan Yu is the Vue guy. Yes, I see a lot of chatter about JavaScript and all that stuff, and I have no problem with people using Node. And the problem that I do see is that you have a lot of people that became developers just from Stack Overflow. All right, and there's no thought or careful architectural decisions made, and things are being slapped together very quickly, and then you put all that stuff, and then what happens? A hacker gets access to all of your data, and then you're crying, not the developer. The worst thing you can do to a developer is just fire them, right? But if you have, let's say, a medical application or a banking application, all that stuff, because the developer was an idiot and a Stack Overflow developer, copy paste, then they didn't take the necessary precautions. Your security hole was open, the hacker got all of your credit card information and all that stuff, and then who's crying? You and me. So that's what I do have a problem with. If you have people that have been working with this particular technology, whether it's called Node or PHP or anything like that, and they understand the flow of operation, the flow of anything, you know, how the application works, then it's very easy to have great quality applications irrespective of the language. But what I do see, and quite heavily in what you call it, in the JavaScript world, is a lot of kids that really want to become men, so to speak. I'm using metaphors here. I'm the best developer since sliced cheese, and then nothing. So that's where my problem is. I don't have a problem with the language per se, or the technology, the architecture. So after my rant, Viking says the previous dev on this project was totally a copy-paste dev. He was even using CodingNighter to execute queries and still managed to write SQL injection bugs. Yeah, that's excellent. Dimitri says, well, personally I like PHP. I think all the things that we want to forget about all PHP exist in Node.js in 2023. Potentially, I don't know. Mako says, I work with many developers, but none introduced me to good practices and practical code references until I did an interview with software architects from a small company in Brazil where I live. Dimitri says, I see a huge wave going that way towards Node.js. Mako says, I was very, with regards to the architects in Brazil, it was a really cool conversation. They introduced me to another layer of the work of the developer, but none of the developers that I work with today know the good practices so well. Good practices that I talk about the basics such as design patterns. Yes, I totally agree with you. There's so many design methodologies that one can use, and you know, all one has to do is actually pick up a book, Patterns of Enterprise Design, I think, from Martin Fowler, or Refactoring by Martin Fowler, and then just have a look and see what you can do, because the task that you are going to do, that you are going to perform, chances are somebody has already thought about it, and or something similar, and there is a pattern for it. And if you use patterns, then you're gonna be able to very quickly refactor your code and understand what you're doing. I've never ever learned the names of patterns, but if you show me some code, I can actually explain to you what I want to do, and in many cases it falls under a pattern's name, but I don't know the name of the pattern. And that was all by looking at things logically and seeing how one can actually do certain things. Of course, I have learned a hell of a lot of things by reading books and just looking at online publications, articles, and all that stuff. And of course, a lot of it is trial and error. So Marco says, yeah, a bunch of stuff that I did today. I look inside the books and wow, I was doing this and not knowing about it. Yeah, it's the same thing with. I think as humans we have a natural instinct on understanding and what to do and what not to do. Anything that is against nature, it starts looking alien. So. You see it everywhere in nature. Something, don't jump off a bridge, right? It doesn't seem natural for you to jump. And humans were not made to fly on their own anyway. So this is what I mean by it's not natural. So, and as you look at code is another language. So for those that speak more than one language, there are certain times that you're thinking, hold on a sec, this doesn't sound right. If you hear something in a language other than your own mother tongue. So Dimitri says, a pattern is a known solution for a known problem. A lot of us found the solution on our own. Others read it in a book and actualized it, and others just studied for interviews. Yep. The latter part is the funny one, where you just have them for interviews. It's hilarious to just see them listen to people recite textbook and then not even know how to do that. So yeah, they're the guys that use the factory pattern to print hello world. Yep. That's alright. I mean, I guess everybody has to make a living. I guess. I don't know. And it's up to the employer to figure out who is a good developer and who isn't. I mean, I never claimed to be a good developer. I'm just an okay guy. There was a study, you guys are probably too young for this. I remember when I was in London, that was right close to the year 2000 bug. And most of you were way too young on that. So the year 2000 bug, if you don't remember or you don't know, it was a bug that would roll the date to 1900. So in order to save space, back in the good old days where we didn't have this crazy amount of processing power that we have right now, or memory for that matter, they would start maybe I'm 53 this year, so yeah, back in the good old Dimitris is 28. Yeah, Dimitris is the baby. He didn't know about the year 2000. So in order to save space, what they did is they stored dates in six, let's say 6 characters, right? Or 6 numbers. So it was the month, the day, and the last 2 digits of the year. And clearly, when 2000 comes up, the program would append 1900 in front of it, right? So that was the year 2000 bug. So we got 28, 42, and 25. Yeah, all right, you're getting there. So people were struggling trying to find solutions on how to change all these dates so that it will store 2000 instead of assume that the first 2 digits were 19, right? Yeah, in 2000 you were 6. Ah, baby. So that was the deal back then with the year 2000. But the point I was trying to make is that they made a study in the UK, and they found out that in London, around 5 to 7% of the people in IT support the rest of the 90 plus people, meaning that if tomorrow you got rid of 90+% of all the IT people in London, nobody would notice. And it was crazy, it was crazy because when the study came up, the person that published it, they were getting grilled. All right. Oh my gosh, how could you possibly say a thing like that and all that? Well, for me working for a big bank, I could easily see why they wrote that and how the data came back. I mean, at the time I had a manager that all she did day in, day out, I'm not kidding, guys, all she did was reply to emails. And it wasn't that she was replying to emails, it was that she would reply all to emails. So I would just turn around and say situation report, deployed code, fix these bugs, done. She would reply, thank you, Nikos. No, you don't have to. It's a situation report. You just read it and leave it. But anyway, so yeah, those were the ones. Anyway. Marco says, we study this in the courses as well as the documentaries about the evolution of the computer. That's the year 2000 bug. It's like that meme where it's one guy who writes everything and the rest of the team just tries the code. Yeah, pretty much Viking. And you will see that what you just described is a lot more common than you think. So let's get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this, and then make, there you go. It's a little bit simpler. Deadweight devs. Yep. Or you also have others that do knowledge hoarding. So they know this little piece of the application and nobody else does, and they don't share knowledge because they are afraid that they might get replaced. So HTTPS, close this, make this. There we go. Garajet, you guys have a blast. Subscribe. So I'll catch you next time. Thank you, Viking. Intentionally obfuscate the coverage of security. Yeah, I know, right? That's funny. Well, in some cases, some people don't have to obfuscate the code. The guy that doesn't know will probably not even know, even if they read it a million times. So, good old programmers. All right, what time is it? Been here for an hour and 37 seconds. Small pause, guys. I just need to go to use the restroom, and I'll be right back. Alright. I don't know how to mute this. Okay, I'm back. Let's continue this. Change that. So. It's like this. So syntax that you can change this to. Is it this or which one does that? Like this? Yeah, that should be okay. So now this will So trimming case, key, this one input key. Let's bring it right. So process files is what we made here. Files, name keys, data file, then this. Just fleet. What do you mean, Mako? By fleet? JetBrains fleet. I don't remember. I think I did at some point. Just PHP Storm is fine. I think there was a beta, wasn't it? That they were doing. Quickly look. Yeah, it's a public review. Yeah, when I last saw it, it was just a waiting list or something. I don't know if it does support PHP. The time that I saw it, it was not. Yep, it does. Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll check it out. Oh, no, really? I need to do the toolbox? That's the one thing that I didn't want to do. I didn't want to download the toolbox app. So I remember now. When I'm kind of like a grumpy dude on this. No, I'm using Linux. So I don't really like installing a million things on my machine. As a matter of fact, I don't. I rarely install um, a lot of stuff on my computer. Usually, I run Docker containers on my computer. was just looking at a bug that was reported. Music has some MMORG feels, yeah. At times I would use the Witcher. That song. And although I've never played The Witcher, my friend Anton has, and he uses that for, you know, soft music to just code with. So Mako says, yeah, it reminds me of the type of Metin 2. Dimitri says, Lineage 2. Mako says, really like the environment in the Witcher 2 music. I don't know, in the landscapes walkthrough, I don't know, guys. I mean, honestly, I have never played The Witcher. I don't even know what it is and what you need to play it. I played EverQuest for a very long time, so that's the only one that I did. And of course I didn't have a lot of money, so my computer was not that great, and as a result I was playing in GIMP mode. I don't know if that's how they call it, and I couldn't see much out of the game. Apparently, what they told me is that EverQuest was one of the games that the technology did not exist at the time to output the maximum potential of the game. So graphics cards were not as good to be able to render everything, but of course now graphics cards are a lot better, so you have the option to see the maximum effect of those games. There, nearly halfway in. Hey, Ricky X. Welcome. Welcome to our company. Music has some RuneScape vibe. All you youngins and your games. Alright, this is another example that that I was talking about with regards to Zephyr and types. So you see here it says var methods and bool strict. So this should be mixed, right? But you see the problem that starts here, right? If it's string, do this. If it's array, do this. And if not, throw an exception. Well, only if it's strict. The thing is that if this is a complex piece of code. I mean, why would you not just do something with array or do something with string? And then it's okay if it's a strict method, then you pass an invalid HTTP method, a non-string. I don't understand this part here. So yeah, all these will have to be rethought. I mean, I initially what I would have done is just throw array string here and then just do it. If it's strict, then it's not a valid method. And the invalidated HTTP method here is covered. So the question is, why would you even care about anything else that it's passed? So all I'll have to do here is change this to array and then string. And that one would solve the issue and we'll get rid of the exception. But in order to make this change, I have to come to the request interface. Ugh. On the method, if you can either pass a string in here or an array. Why would you want to pass a number in here? That's my question. So if I change this to only array and string, that would solve the issue here. I have to come over here to the is actually, you know what? Leave it as is. Leave it as is, and then we will clean it up when the time comes. Because it could very well break a lot of people's code, so I don't want to make these kind of changes without Dimitri says just pass one method, pass a method using an array with one element. I agree totally with that, so then you have only one type instead of two. But a lot of people have been using this with a string. So those people will have to go and change their applications when the time comes to upgrade to this. So it is going to be a big background compatibility issue. So for now, I'm just gonna leave it as is, and then later on we're gonna make sure that everything is fine. And you see here, this code, let me just translate it and then you're gonna see this code does recursion. So this code is like crazy. Oh my gosh. And you know, you wouldn't see this if you were doing Zephyr, but it is very easy for you to pick it up here. So comes in here. If it is a string, then it will check if it's a valid method, and then it will say, all right, if the method is the same as the HTTP method, which is what method you passed, what method you're getting from, right? So it says check if the HTTP method matches any of the past methods. When the string is true, it checks the validated methods that are real HTTP methods. So based on what the request method is, if I pass a method here, then it should return either true or false, depending on whether the method is the same or not, right? So that happens in the string part here. Now, if it's an array, it starts iterating through the methods, and then it calls itself again. And if itself returns true, then you return true, right? So this one creates recursion. A method is calling itself. So the way to play around with it is as follows, to make it a little bit easier. It's the first and foremost, you do if true is strict. So if it's not an array and it's not a string and it's strict, then throw an exception. Right? This one will make it an array. But what would happen if strict is false and it's not coming here? Man, I hate this method. Leave it as is. new job, Dimitri says in my new job I'll be using Kotlin, so I tried Spring Boot with Kotlin and I found it was pretty good. It's like Java with 0% verbosity, very positive surprise. It's very interesting to see. Kotlin, in a sense, is similar to Zephyr, in a notion, so to speak. So JetBrains wanted something that they could use to create their applications, for any environment. So they invented Kotlin, and now all their developers are using Kotlin to easily create UIs for anybody. So they created a language to help them with the need that they had. It's similar that we created Zephyr in order to help us with a need. So it's very good, very good language. I think I've tried it once or twice, some examples and stuff. So Dimitri says, I have not heard about Zephyr. So Zephyr is a language that looks like PHP or JavaScript, and what it does is you just program in it, and then when you run the compiler on it, when you compile it, then it creates the C code, and it creates the extension, and that's what we publish to Pickle, and that's what you guys use. RookieX says, sorry to interrupt, Phalcon 5 stable is not yet available, right? As officially, I'm using 4.2, 7.4. No, Phalcon 5 is available. We're at 5.1.4 right now, and it works with 7.4. Although you're encouraged to upgrade to 8, PHP 8 as well. So yeah, you can use it, Ricky. Let me see if I can change something here. Alright, so this is Dimitri, this is the Zephyr one, right? So we're doing requests. Let's see, something that would be a little bit easier. Alright, so if you look at this, you see regular stuff, final protected function, the name of the function. Then you have var here instead of mixed. You do have bool, you do have only successful. This long just sends a long integer, but it's an integer. The difference is there's no dollar signs, right? The second thing is that every variable you're going to use in the function, you have to declare it at the top. So you can declare them as vars, which is mixed, or int, string, array, and all that stuff. And for instance, is array is if type of data is not equal to array. So it's slight differences like these. So return 1, and then you have for each loops. The for each loop of Zephyr is the reverse. So the array, the collection, is at the end, and the value is at the front. In the for each, you would do for each data as value, and in Zephyr you do it the other way around. And then you have not equals, plus plus, whatever, and then it just calls itself again, and then it returns number 5. So that's pretty much Zephyr. It doesn't have any crazy what you call it, syntax. It has a few bits and pieces, but yeah. So that's Zephyr. Alright, so hold on a sec. I should change this to something else. This one. How is it run? So what we have here, let me just flip it back around to the other project. This one there. Alright, so this is the Zephyr code that we have. This is the whole Phalcon repository, right? So we have here this folder called Docker, and in here we have different versions of it. For now, for v5 we're supporting 7.4, but for v6 it's going to be pure 8. So down here you have different Docker files that you can use and all that, and we have a Docker compose that creates different containers, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then and of course the other ones, the supporting ones, Redis, memcached, Postgres, and so on and so forth. So once you do once it builds the environments, then you can get into one of them. For Phalcon, I always go to 7.4 because I don't want Composer to mess things up for everybody. But for Phalcon 6, I always go to the 8 one. So you go in there, and then all you do is you run a couple of commands for Zephyr to compile your application. So it does it in 2 or 3 steps or something like that. So first it will generate the code. It would start reading all these files, the ZEP files, and it will start creating C files, C and H files, so headers and C code. And then the next step would be to compile it. And once it compiles, it becomes a module on your web server. And right after that, for us, it's once we're ready, we just send everything to GitHub. The whole the whole actions run creates the pair package, and then we take that pair package and we upload it to pair, and that's your release. If you want to program in this, it's fine, but it's really difficult to diagnose errors and mistakes. And as I mentioned earlier, that's one of the reasons we're going towards PHP, to get that static code analysis that exists from the tools that exist in PHP, and then port everything back here. RookieX says, okay, because I did try to install 5, but I'm having trouble with the dev tools for Phalcon 5 using PHP 8.1. It's still detecting 4.2, even if I reinstall it with Composer. You're not going to get any Phalcon tools for version 5. We haven't done them yet. We're still working on this. We're still using this this whole approach of doing the PHP and then the Zephyr, and there's certain bugs that need to be fixed before we just try to get something out for DevTools. Yes, we have neglected them, I understand. One of the things that we want to do is we want to get rid of the web interface just to be command line only. It makes sense. We don't have to duplicate the code and all that. So it will happen, but not right now. I mean, I really don't have a lot of time to just go and rework everything in the DevTools. I do have a branch. Some of the tests do pass, but still some of them don't. And Jackerson is just over his head right now. So I would suggest not to rely that much on DevTools if you really want to upgrade, but just read the upgrade guide, and you will very quickly find that it's much simpler than you think. Okay? So Dimitri says, would I be able to write a whole web server in Zephyr? Probably not. It depends on what you would use to accept the requests and what to do with them. If you do manage to write a web server, then I don't really understand how would that compete with Nginx or Apache and so on and so forth. Certainly you could do something, but I don't know why would you want to? Let's switch back to Phalcon. Alright, so there is a mathematical library that has been written in Zephyr, and I think it's called Rector or something. And they did a great job. They just went and wrote all their computational and all that stuff in Zephyr, which helped them a lot. So Mako says, on building the web server, the first question is why. Yeah, I know, I understand, but you know that's what came to my mind, so I asked it. Ricky X says, alright, I understand. I just used it when I started learning Phalcon. Haha. Yes, we all did. I have to admit, I probably spent no more than a day with DevTools, and then I thought, yeah, no, that's not for me. I'd rather make things by hand. So every single project I did it by hand. And then lo and behold, I start creating my own little framework, which I have and I use as a template if I want to start a brand new site or application. I just take that and then copy it over. So. I've never heard of it. I think I've heard the. So Mako asks, "What do you think about Carbon, the new C?" I've never used it. I've never done anything with it. All I heard is the name. And as far as Rust is concerned, a lot of people are going nuts about it. I don't have enough knowledge for that to just say, yeah, Rust is good, Rust is bad. I know that quite a few RFCs in PHP came from comparing Rust to what PHP would, should, or will do, whatever. And a couple of them did make the cut, but I don't know. I'm not very good in just adopting new technologies. I have to investigate something and see. Then I'll test it. I'll play with it or whatever. But I'm a little bit difficult to change. If that makes sense. I really like PHP. I'm very comfortable with it. So if it happens later on, something else comes along and it's better, then I'll check it out. So, oops. So yeah, I will read a few things. I will hear about, let's say, Carbon that you mentioned, or Rust or whatever, and I will go, okay. Man, that's a long file. Coming back again on the filters part that we've been talking earlier. That this variable here has to be string or array. Leave it as set. Alright, so RickyX says this isn't part of the subject of the stream, just asking you all, like, how do you learn new things such as design patterns and such and applying it to your projects? My college apparently does not teach programming well. In college, just simple hello world and simple form submission, and we're given a coursework. Viking says that sounds about like the knowledge of most of the juniors I have to interview who are fresh out of uni. My personal opinion, the only thing that you gain from a college is that little piece of paper that says that you actually went there and spent a lot of time and money to learn nothing, and that's pretty much it. And unfortunately, a lot of employers do require that little piece of paper. And without it, they don't even see you. They don't even, you might be a genius, you might be the best programmer ever, and you might be a natural, and they wouldn't see you without that piece of paper. Now, unfortunately, that's the world we live in. In my personal experience, I ask questions as to why, and that leads me to read this and then read that and then read something else, read the different articles, try and program outside the mainstream. Sometimes I would just see something brand new. I would find let's say a project on GitHub, and then I would just download that project and start looking at how the code interacts with each other, with one another. As far as design patterns are concerned, it's just like a language pattern, the language that you speak. The more you start using them, the more you will identify where they are and what they could do. You could definitely have some books for guidance, and then just asking people questions. The problem that I have right now is I cannot find a good, healthy programming discussion group that I can point you to, because no matter what, a lot of people either will think that they're God's gift to humanity slash programming, so they will look down on you, even if you ask this rookie question, as you mentioned. And a lot of people will turn around and tell you RTFM, read the blah blah manual. That's not how it's supposed to be. The younger people, in terms of, not in terms of age, in terms of experience, should be encouraged and nurtured so that they can offer something very quickly. Unfortunately, I don't know of any good online forum that you can use. Mako says, look at the channel of Kitando. Dimitri says, yeah, a lot of toxicity, and also the Discord community can help you. If you can get those resources and you can find people that are not toxic and are willing to help you, yeah, by all means. By all means. But you know, honestly, I have not been able to find something good. So I stick to the Phalcon chat for two reasons. First of all, people there are very cool, relaxed. We just talk whenever we talk and all that stuff. And second, I'm an admin, so I can kick in anyone that tries to be toxic. So that's pretty much it. Alright, there's Marcos. Yeah, Rookie X, if you come to our Discord, and you know, even if you have a PHP based question, not necessarily a Phalcon related one, nobody's gonna shut you down. Most likely you are gonna get a response. We're not extremely busy as the Discord server is, but you know, we try our best. Yeah, Stack Overflow. You know, we had a really nice run with Stack Overflow. They were superb, very helpful to us. There was a guy, I remember his name was Tim, and he came over and he wanted to help the project. He was promoting it. He actually convinced us to start posting on Stack Overflow and having you know, building a reputation or something like that. And I did. I started posting there. I mean, if you see, my reputation is over 10,000 over there, and primarily just for Phalcon. So after a while, you know, I would make certain changes, and then all of a sudden somebody that had more clout or karma, whatever that thing is called, than me would come and change things that I would know they're correct. Alright, this is something that I've worked on. It's Phalcon. I know the ins and outs of it. You cannot come and correct me on something that I know how it's built, or if I'm the one that built it. So we went into a little spat some time ago, where I actually turned around and said, "What the hell are you doing? You know, this is not gonna work." And you know, they told me, "No, it's a great community, blah 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 blah." And then in the end, it's like, "Okay, all right, keep your stuff open." So that's why I haven't posted there in a while, actually, out of curiosity. Yeah, 11,400 reputation on it. Crazy. What does that do? I keep on getting upvoted on something I replied in 2014. That gives you an idea. In Stack Overflow. So yeah. Okay, so back to the chat. It's on the roadmap of Phalcon to build a base application like Ruby on Rails with blog example. And we had a blog, didn't we? Yeah, we did. So the repo will be a little bit old. Hold on a sec. The repo is definitely going to be old in terms of code. But if you go to this, that's for Mako. If you go to this, you can actually download the code and have a look how we build our blog with it. Now, the reason that we changed the blog and we took it out is because we didn't have time to handle all these other satellite applications. You know, we have Invo, we have the REST tutorial, we have this, we have that, we have the other, we had the blog, the build with, whatever. So we changed everything to something much simpler, and that's why our blog changed from the PHP-based, Phalcon-based version to Jekyll, which is just a text editor or just pure HTML. So that's why we did that. Mako says the thing on Ruby is that the official language released a tutorial how to build a blog. Yeah, in some minutes. I agree. We haven't been able to do a lot of the samples, so to speak, and how to do that. We still have a video that is probably 10 years old, how to build a poll application in Phalcon very quickly. We just need to update those. I'm guessing once we stabilize a little bit, because there's a lot of work going on right now with V6 and V5 at the same time, we're gonna try our best to do all these videos and all that stuff. I know that a lot of people really like videos, and I don't understand why, because if I want to test something, I don't want somebody to just type and then tell me, now you're gonna do this. No, I just want to read what I'm gonna do, and I'm working on my own pace. Anyway, these are the things that's going on. So regarding Stack Overflow, Viking says 10 years ago Stack Overflow was the best. Now someone asks a question and an EA mod with 400k reputation comes and deletes the question. I have 500 reputation because I asked one question in 2013. Yeah, well, that's good. Rookie says I'm currently working and the company is using Laravel. Of course, we just used the SOP of it, just some standard to PHP to build the logic and following the docs. Then my hands got itchy to see the source code of the controller and such. And I'm like, wow, this is some kind of new stuff. Then I started looking into design patterns. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Mako says with regards to the videos, maybe the community can help and create some reports or sample, right? Maybe add it to the official project. Yeah, I'm all happy with that, buddy. The question is who, right? I don't see a lot of people just jumping up and down and doing. I don't know what Laravel did and how they became so successful, but they didn't become so successful just for just because of the catchy name or whatever. They became successful because there was one person that saw what Taylor did, and they said, "Oh, this looks really great, right? Let me do this." And then that person created a blog post, and then that blog post was read by 10 people, and then 10 other people looked it up, and then they created more blog posts. Lo and behold, now you have thousands and thousands of people using Laravel. Not only their source code gets enriched by pull requests, but people have a different ecosystem where they actually produce resources for Laravel. They have Laravel University. There's even a podcast with Laravel. I don't know what they talk about every week or something. So you see, I don't know what Artesian was. Is that their dev tools or something? Artisan or something? Yeah, I think it was Artisan. I have no problem creating an artisan so bring the dev tools inside the program, the main repository, and just make things for you. No problem at all doing that. The question is, yeah, I got it. It's artisan. Yes. The question is where is the developer coming into this? Alright, I get the part that, alright, I put in one command, my model file has been created. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. But that doesn't teach you how to be a developer. It just creates the skeletons. So for me, CLI applications should only create skeletons and nothing else. No more logic and all that stuff. I'm pretty sure a lot of the people in the community will disagree. But and to counter that, I would love to have something like an artisan, right? That would be excellent. But what you're gonna end up having is Stack Overflow developers, or something, what you call it, artisan developers. So, I don't know. I'm just rambling here. Viking says, I've interviewed Laravel developers who couldn't do basic PHP functionality. Yeah, it's not only Laravel developers, but since we're on the subject, yeah, definitely. There are developers there that have no clue of what's going on, and they're supposed to be developers. Mako says, Artisan, the CLI to make everything on Laravel. The numbers in Laravel is not all super developers. Most of them are junior. And it's a fast start application. Yeah, it is. And we're coming back to what we've been talking about an hour or two ago with regards to when do you want to pay for something? Do you want to pay for it now, or do you want to pay for it later? So Laravel allows you to create the pay later application. That is a fast start. You get the results that you wanted, and then you start crying because your code has tons of bugs, and you put a patch over a patch over a patch because you didn't think the application through. And yes, Viking Experts Exchange. I do remember the website very well. Experts Exchange developers. It's hilarious. getting towards the end. Yay! Man, I've been streaming for what, 3 hours now? Dang. Viking says, I wonder how much the guy who does SEO for W3 School makes. I don't know. But they sure have a very busy site. And at times I have visited it just to see certain things. Surprisingly enough, it appears at times higher than the actual PHP website, which is crazy. Talking about W3 schools, Mako says I go back to that site every time I need to remember the order of parameters on SQL queries. Yep. Dimitri says, well, it's not only Laravel that has this problem. Yeah, no doubt. Well, we have it here in Phalcon too. There's a lot of developers that pretty much don't understand the logic of how the framework works and how it should work. For the longest time, I'm talking about a really long time ago. Imagine Phalcon 1.3 and all that stuff, right? We had a lot of people that would come to, you know, either our chat or whatever. I think we were in Google Groups at the time or something like that. And they would turn around and say, "Oh my gosh, we need this particular functionality." For instance, Mustache, right? The templating engine. And they would come, 2 or 3 of them, and they would just turn around and say, oh, we need this. So we built that, and pretty much one of the least used features of the application. So templating engine instead of Vault using Mustache. Same thing with Twig. And then after a while, we turned around and said, well, why should we even bother making these requests? And that's why we made the voting for requests, and then after that, all these little weird things would stop. I had a feeling for the longest time that it was some sort of a little troll community on, you know, a crazy server that would turn around and say, hey, what else can we go and ask the Phalcon guys to write, and they will write it. And so yeah, crazy stuff out there. So Mako says about the sample projects, the community on Discord can help, of course. Maybe start a fast start tool to call more about the community. Sure, well, we can do that for sure. I mean, I can, if you guys want to, I can have a repo done, and then you guys can clone it and just put your ideas in there. The thing is that, what should this fast thing do? We have the Invo one, we have the Vakuro one, we have the REST API. So, and I know that that there's this Japanese guy that keeps on finding errors of on the Invo, and it drives me nuts. Not him, but it drives me nuts that we're finding errors over there. So, I mean, just posted Mako just posted it on the site on Discord, and you'll be able, people will be able to reply yes, no, maybe. I think this thing is on repeat. I'm pretty sure I've heard this melody. Alright. Dimitri says he's gonna join Discord. Everybody's welcome there. Alright, Rookie says, thank you guys and admin for answering my new questions. Support is awesome, we'll continue using Phalcon's personal framework till my manager actually agrees to use it. I'll let the stream run while I sleep, why not be able to sleep? It's 4 AM here in Malaysia. Oh dang dude, you're hardcore. That is awesome. Yeah, glad you could make it. That was really good. I'll join if there's another live Istanbul here on YouTube. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have a few more lives. I'm gonna start making the one hangout per month. We used to do that a couple years back or something, but I'll definitely need to bring that back because a lot of people really liked it. So probably end of the month, last whatever Friday or something, Saturday, something like that. So we are gonna have a few lives. Yeah, it's definitely playing on repeat. I remember this one. Last few lines. Yay. Hi, babe. We made a mistake here. Just copy that thing from Phalcon. Ta-da! Do notes. There you go. All the imports in. Alright, so we done the requests. So now all we have to do is just make sure that we run the tests, and that'll be it. So guys, I'm gonna stop the stream right now, and I'll probably go and get something to eat or something like that. Thank you everybody that came over and spent your time with me, and I'll see you all soon, especially on Discord and all that. Thank you guys. Take care all. If I can find where to stop it. There you go.